It's Wednesday night, and we're live from Oakdale, Washington, in the Activator Touch studio. Welcome to Ethics Outside the Box, with your host, Nathan Nordstrom. Special guests include Jennifer Cole and you. Here he is, Nathan Nordstrom.
Good morning, everybody, evening, whatever time of the day it is for you that you decided to pop into this wonderful YouTube video. Welcome Facebook Live. It's good to see you all out there. It's great to see you guys. So we are starting today with a couple of different things. First one is that we want to go through that wonderful thing that we always go through with all of you, and that is knowing where to find the code of ethics for massage therapists. You have to hit a couple of buttons here while we're trying to get that. And there it is. So we're going to go over here to the Code of Ethics of a Massage Therapist. Now, remembering where we found this is the National Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Body Workers website. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that front page, well, on any page actually, you're going to see the About on the bottom left-hand side. And if you go down, it's going to talk about volunteers, bylaws, senior staff, okay, and then NCB, frequently asked questions, code of ethics, and standard of practice. This year we're going to be going through those. So this is a wonderful special day because it's being recorded on Valentine's Day, and we're not at the Educated Touch Studios like I usually am. We're actually in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a school summit meeting. And I have my friend Jennifer with me, who will be joining us in this wonderful conversation, or she'll get really shy and then I'll just talk for an hour. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. Hopefully not. But today's subject is number 7, conducting their business and professional activities with honesty, integrity, and respect the inherent worth of all persons. Now, yeah, the last couple of weeks we've gone from short one to long one to kind of a medium-sized one, but I think there's a lot packed in here. Jennifer, is there something that stands out to you for this this specific one?
Conducting the professional activities, honesty and integrity. I don't know that those are necessarily the exact same thing. So we talked about that before, about being honest and being forthright.
Okay.
And that's more of the sign of integrity, is becoming more forthright. So I think that stands out to me the most, and that how important that is in the massage profession.
I love the term integrity.
Yep. Because
to me it goes along with the concept of integrating. And so if you're integrating honesty in your life, then you're going to be a person who's honest in your daily living, in your activities, but honesty, and then people aren't going to question your integrity because you've got this pattern, you've got this process, you've got these pieces that are there. I have teenage kids, and I love my teenage kids.
I do too. And I equally love them.
and I find it interesting to see the concept of when you have teenage kids, hopefully they're honest, but when they don't quite follow their honesty or they try and lie, you'll notice that I have a wonderful son who's 9 years old right now. His name's Grant. And Grant, yes, I'm talking about you on Facebook really well and YouTube. That's Emmett. Yeah, Grant's the one who doesn't dance. But Grant is really funny because he's not a good liar. When he lies, he's got these tells that just he can't hold it back. And most of the time, instead of telling a lie, he just tells you the truth. For example, Emmett.
That's okay.
Emmett came in crying. He's like, "Grant hit me," And so I went in and said, Grant, did you hit Emmett? Yes, I did that.
Good.
Okay, why did you hit him? I hit him because he was bugging me. You can't hit him because he's bugging you. Okay, I'm sorry, Grant. I'm sorry, Emmett. Okay, what punishment can I have with that now? There's no punishment needed. It's he learned his lesson and he told the truth. And so it's always fun to me to see people who tell the truth, and then those people who like to fudge around the corners. Like, how much can I get away with instead of how much can I follow the letter of the law and kind of really do my best to make sure things are right instead of going the other direction.
So you touched on it at the beginning. So first of all, when it comes to honesty, when you're talking about your professional life and you're talking about your personal life, there is no separation because they absolutely come in together. So it's not like you can be and behave in one manner and not carry over into the other. You're still the same person conducting yourself, just a different audience, whether it's with your clients or it's with your coworkers or it's your children or your friends, and you're sitting out together.
I like that in two ways, because one is you are going to be an honest person in your personal life or your professional life. But then the other side of that is, in many cases, and especially I live in a small town, so your personal life is your professional life.
Right.
Because your neighbor or your child's principal or teacher or something are going to say, oh, that person's a massage therapist. Am I interested in going and seeing them as a professional? And anything that you do personally in the community is going to be looked at in your professional life.
That's true whether it's a small town, and that's true because I'm not in a small town. I'm in Dayton, so we're not huge, but we're not small. So I still have principals. I still have people that I run into and talk to, and so and it's a lot smaller than you really realize. So you just have to do it because it's the right thing, and you want to be forthright and follow through with your word. And if you're not doing it in your personal life, what's going to stop you from not doing it in your professional life, or vice versa?
It's a small world after all, as the old horrible song goes into. But it really is, and when you don't know who knows who.
Yeah.
Or who knows whom. I was at a Foster Research Conference several years ago, and I came across, at the conference, there was another Nathan N. And I was like, well, that's really awesome. I want to go out to eat with him. So Nathan Nevis and I went out to eat, and we had a great time. It was his birthday, and so just enjoyed ourselves. And past cards, he actually lived on the East Coast. I had just moved to Pullman, Washington, to Moscow, Idaho, or to that area, to the Moscow-Pullman area. And I was laughing because a couple of weeks later, one of my coworkers said, Nathan, do you know someone named Nevis? Like Nathan Nevis? She's like, oh, really? Yeah. She's like, I'm dating his brother. And I was like, how does all that kind of come together to kind of have someone literally completely across the country,
unrelated event,
completely unrelated event, completely no connection other than this? And it was like, wow, you do know people who know people. My brother, I love my brother Dan. He's a police officer in Las Vegas. And Dan, I'm going to tell one of your stories. He is in Las Vegas working as a police officer and is arresting people, and he arrests this guy, and the guy was a student of my mother, who was an elementary school teacher. So when he was 6 years old and a first grade student, my mom taught him. And when he then grew up and was not making the greatest of choices, as he was getting arrested, he's like, Nordstrom, is that like Mary Lou Nordstrom? Whoa. Why do you know that name? And he said that he was, and these are things where you kind of go, huh, life is smaller than we know. And so you're right that there is this integral part of your personality that is going to really be universally intact.
You're still just one person.
You are just going to be you.
You have to be, it has to be consistent, and you have to be to the core.
Yep. And as a child, and people look at me a little weird just because I'm weird. But I'll go to eat breakfast. Earlier this week, I was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I went out and had the breakfast at the hotel. And I've been trained as a child that when you get your food, you set it down and you bless it. And I still do it, just because that's what you do. That's how I was ingrained in the things that I do. And I find it funny that when I get done blessing it, I'll see eye contact from other people watching me, and then I'll see them do the same thing. But if I don't take a moment and visually kind of fold my hands and bow my head and just do it mentally, I miss it. And I don't think other people see that example, and they don't get that opportunity to get that reminder. And it's not that I'm trying to be a pious person and show, hey, I can pray and you should pray, but I'm taking the moment. And if that opportunity gets to other people, then that's a beautiful thing too.
You are leading with your values by example.
I'm not a leader.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's a little sarcasm there. Yeah, no, and it's part of those things that you have to be looking at for what you really are, what you want to do with yourself. And so I'm a big fan of just making sure that you look at your example and you say, hey, what is it that I think I need to do to be the best me possible? Because there's no other way to get out there and actually be anything more than who you are. And now I'm trying to figure out a couple of things. Go ahead.
I mean, kind of what you're saying is that, figuring out or being who you are. I mean, you need to be accountable. And that's maybe, in my opinion, as an instructor, a challenge that I find is accountability. Hi.
Angie Patrick comes into our webinar. No, come on in. Got no problems.
Pop on in.
We're talking about today. Hold on. Let's see if we can swing it over to Angie. Well, hello, Angie. You're live on Facebook Live. But today we're actually talking about honesty and integrity, which is the NCB code number 7. Conduct business professional activities in an honest and integral and with honesty and integrity, and respect the inherent worth of all people. Do you have anything that you wanted to say about honesty and integrity?
Well, that's kind of the motto that I try to live by.
Yes.
That's how we do business.
That is. Massage Warehouse, I've always said, go to Massage Warehouse and talk to those people, because you know what? They live according to how they want people to treat them. That golden rule.
That's exactly the truth. If I called a company and I had a challenge, I would want somebody to take that challenge seriously. Right. Like I'm the most important person that they have, and I might not be all day long, but I want to feel like I am.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you give people the attention that you would want back. And truly, it is the golden rule, isn't it? You treat people the way you want to be treated.
Well, and that's, in my mind, that's what the end statement is. But respect the inherent worth of all people.
Amen.
Because when you start saying, okay, if you're a massage therapist, how do you respect the integrity and the worth of all of your clients?
Correct.
You've got to be on top of not only what their value is, but in a true giving fashion.
And in the moment, and focused on them, because they're paying for your time and your attention and your professionalism and your skills. So don't be thinking about your groceries, your car payment, your part. You know what I mean? You got to give them exactly what they've asked for.
And what is it? So thank you for coming in.
Thank you. That's exactly right. That's right. Well, listen, thank you guys.
All right.
That was perfectly timed. That's fantastic.
Thank you guys.
Yes. So golden rule.
For real. I mean, I think that should, you know, I don't want somebody to disrespect me.
Mhm.
And so if I want to have respect, then I need to also give that respect. You know, I think that we should, something she touched on was with the clients and being present. So I kind of wanted to come back to that
Yeah.
because treating somebody with their inherent worth. So as an instructor, you're with the students from the very beginning. Some of these students have never even had a massage before. They've never even experienced. They just know that this is what they want to do. They have a strong interest in it. They get into it, and you talk about.
They're naturally good because their family says, "Oh, you should be a massage therapist. You should go."
Oh, you're really great. Yeah, this feels so good.
And they've never had someone do what they do.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we talk about how, you know, so from the beginning on how we want to interact with our clients and how to be present with them. And that is really a challenge, I think, not just for the student level, but even that concept about being present and giving that person your time.
I don't know if presence is actually talked about in every massage therapy school, because I know when you're like in massage therapy 1, that really early course, and they're like, okay, so now you're going to do effleurage, and now we're going to teach you this pattern of how to do a 1-hour massage, and they're actually teaching the opposite of presence. They're teaching patterning and processing and how to make sure to do these things. It's
so technical at the beginning, and then I get that with my students every time. They're so technically ingrained. Like, okay, step 1. All right, okay, I got that, Jen.
Yeah,
okay, step 2.
I got it.
Okay, I got step 2. Okay, step 3. Okay, oh no, I got to go back to step 2. But then you have to say, okay, great. Now that you've mastered this technical skill, now we need to bring this into a full picture. And what's that mean?
And that's when I love that clinic time, or that last quarter when you've got them and you're like, okay, now get out of your brain. They're like, whoa, wait, how? What do you mean get out of my brain? Stop thinking about step A, step B, step C, or step 1, step 2, step 3. Start thinking about what's going on with this client. What is it that they need? How do you connect? How do you communicate? And that's usually where intake interview and exit interview and connecting with the client while they're on the table and making sure that they feel comfortable and safe. And making sure that all of that is so important. I've just recently heard about cases, once again, going back to male massage therapists who are getting in trouble for perceived sexual misconduct. And I think the first statement that I regularly go back to is the massage therapist engaging in professional communication, checking in with the client, and expressing and kind of keeping the discussion professional and making sure that that person feels like they are the professional taking care of them.
So we talk about that in school too, that it is more about, it's less concerning that the client knows about your hobbies and how many children you have, and there is something interesting that when we're in that room, we have this captive audience of this client stuck on the table, so we might have this strong desire to kind of, you know, capitalize on that. They're here and I'm gonna just give them everything, when it's not about the therapist in that time. And so I lovingly tell my students that if you find yourself doing that, you might go to counseling. You might look at going to counseling, because it might be something you need to work through, because this needs to be about the person and being present with them and listening to them and listening to their, you know, their challenges that they're having. And communication is key, and the intake is so important. And then touching base, like you said, the entire time. And if something is uncomfortable, if somebody doesn't care for something you're doing, like listening to them. I don't know if you want to hear a story that I have.
I love stories.
Okay, so I know of a situation that happened is, and one of my students came in and was talking about their experience, and they had seen a licensed massage therapist, a male licensed massage therapist that they knew relatively, and the experience did not go well. It was not pleasant. So she received her massage. She made comments about the amount of pressure that was used, and he just really did not value her. He did not respect her. He did not listen to her. And some of the things I won't even repeat what was said to him or said to her, to get her to just suck it up and take it. pretty much, and that's what it was. And she even sat up at one point, she said, listen, this is too much, and he told her to lay back down and take it. And you think, why would you do that? Why, how can you do that? How can you treat, another person like that, even in jest, but you're in that situation? They're vulnerable. And then to make the story even worse is that this woman had experienced negative touch experience in the past, and it kind of brought that back. Yeah. So there was not that respect for her.
Well, and that goes right to the last statement of inherent worth of all your patients. Even if you are a deep tissue massage therapist who believes that it's got to hurt to get better, which no, it doesn't. But if that's your thought, knowing the inherent worth of that client and giving them the control to say, this is too much, I don't like it. If you value that person as a person, if they say stop, you stop. No matter what it is, if it's inappropriate touch, if it's too much touch, if it's too little touch, if they say, that's kind of tickly, could you press a little harder? You'll give them the opportunity to explain and connect with them and help them with what it is that they need.
Right.
Now, that may not be that you take your elbow and do an elbow drop into the middle of their back and start ripping things apart.
So don't do that.
For some odd reason, that doesn't always help.
No.
No.
An injured muscle, dropping 250 pounds of pressure into it doesn't seem like it's effective.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Effectiveness is a crazy thing. And I have to own up on this one, because I am a deep tissue therapist, and I have had clients who have come back to a second visit, and I said, okay, so how are you doing? What's going on? How did you feel after the last massage, and where were you at after that? And when they say, well, I feel like I got hit by a Mack truck, you kind of go, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Looks like we went too deep and too quickly. So let's change this pattern. Let's figure out how to make sure that we get the response that you need without the trauma.
So I used to climb that 12-foot ladder when I first got out. I would low shut my elbow and kick that ladder down and drop right onto the rhomboids with it too. So, and I had to, it was very humbling, because that was a training that I had, and this is what you did. And back in the day, it was back in '96. This is, it's not quite the same research then as we have now. Yeah. And so it was humbling over the time. Like my clients, they would, not be getting the results that I had anticipated them getting. And I had to kind of step back and go, what, and what it was is I was satisfying my agenda instead of listening to their agenda and what their plan, what they need. And my brain thought, well, no, I'm supposed to do this. It's supposed to hurt. That's how you get better, or whatever, or to that, what I'm saying, to that effect. And then I started listening to my people more and saying, when they would say that's enough, it didn't matter how much more pressure I had the ability to apply. It didn't matter to that. It came down to what they wanted.
So I want to take it out of our profession just a second.
Sure.
Because I've had several chiropractors that I've worked with in the past. I've worked at chiropractic college. I've worked with chiropractors, and I've been adjusted by many chiropractors. And it was interesting when I was working at the chiropractic college. One of the key pieces that they were teaching then was that it's not about the pops and cracks. It's about the movement and range of motion. And I thought, okay, that's common sense. And then I thought back to chiropractors that I knew were adjusting that neck and didn't get a pop, and so they went to rack on it again and didn't get a pop, and then they took a third one and they really jammed on it.
It's just crazy, and the body wasn't listening.
And the body then seized up, and they may have gotten that crack that third time. May not have, but the muscle trauma that was after that. Or chiropractic, and truly, most graduates out of chiropractic college in the most recent days won't do it more than twice. And they'll say, okay, you know what? It's not going. Let's do some soft tissue. Let's do some other stuff. Let's see what we can do to make sure. And this is where Activator Technique, which is a little clicker, has really kind of spurred up, because it's not as traumatizing
Right.
to the rotation and range of motion of the muscles and the joints themselves. I mean, it's a lot of new concepts for chiropractors to collect, but it's also a lot of really good benefit for us to look at and as the patients to kind of go, okay, so we don't have to have that Pavlov Dogian bell saying, okay, I got it. Yes, everything's good now. And now I'm salivating. Okay, I did a good job. Good job. It's more of, okay, let's do the treatment we know. Let's see if that created a change. If not, let's see what else we can do that gives an appropriate. In other words, keeping our brains engaged with the patient or the client in this case, instead of going through the pattern and just waiting for the right thing to respond. Because it's not about response, it's about our engagement and reconnection with the body. I don't know how many times I've worked on someone's upper traps and they're just not letting go. And then I go, wait a second, why don't I start looking at the cervicals? Why don't I start looking at the rest of the thoracic muscles, see if I can get those to relax? And then you come back and you're like, oh, upper traps, they've let go. Huh, that's interesting.
Look at that.
Latissimus dorsi was having problems too. Huh, okay, now this is.
I'll just shake them. I like to shake them.
Just jiggle them all over the place. Yeah, a good shaken baby syndrome head is always the head goes. Not babies.
Not babies.
Yes.
No babies.
Sorry. All right. So, business and professional activities.
Yep.
So, I love activities. I had a student in massage school. I don't know how much I want to get into this story. He had a history background. He was arrested.
Okay.
And so when he came into school, he disclosed that to me. And I said, okay, so here's, in our state, here's the standards, here's the concerns. And we told him and gave him the warning, hey, we don't know if you'll be able to get a license.
Right.
But we want to give you that opportunity if you feel safe. Here's the process that you have to do. He decided he wanted to go to massage school.
Okay.
So he started in the program, and we started him down the process of making sure that he was doing everything, getting everything right, reporting to the board early. We gave him his application early so he could submit it early so that he could have anything that he needed if they were going to have a trial, anything else, so that the board could actually go through and know what's going on and what's going down. And we were so excited for him because he really seemed like a really changed individual.
Right.
Until they got arrested just after graduation. And it broke our heart.
See, there it goes back to you can't be two different people.
Nope. And I don't doubt it was, I don't believe it was that he had malice, that he was trying to hide and deceive and do all of that. But I think if you look at any AA program or Alcoholics Anonymous or any Drug Abuse Anonymous or any of those addiction recovery programs, they almost always say thoughts start with small concepts and lead to the bigger concepts. You don't decide to go to a casino with $100,000 and drop it on the number 3 on a roulette table without first playing a little poker or playing without first a little blackjack, a little bit of this, a little bit. You build up to these concepts. No matter who you are, you don't just accidentally get arrested, in my mind. Yes. Are there times that you're in the wrong place at the wrong time? Yes. However, you said the wrong thing. You responded to the officer wrong. The wrong place in the wrong time might be at a nightclub at 3 a.m. For some odd reason.
Could be a playground after dark.
Playground after dark. You're putting yourself in risk that much more. And so looking at risk in life is something that I think people don't pay enough attention to. everyone knows I'm approving. That's fine. I don't drink alcohol. I've never drunk alcohol. And always
I'll
been
drink it for
sober.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
But
welcome.
I've also noticed that when I see people who have drunk too much alcohol, it wasn't I drank one and it was too much. It was I drank one, that was really good, so I had another, and that one was really good. And by the time they're 5, 6 sheets to the wind, then they're making choices that are less than effective, and then we'll reflect back on how they're relating to people and how they're communicating with people, and then that will reflect back onto their integrity. Usually when your inhibitions are down, that's who you really are comes out.
It seems to be definitely.
Not always.
It seems like your guard is down and your filters are, taking a break. So we tend to say a little bit more, and probably a little bit more boisterous or,
But
more casual.
I kind of go with the shy person doesn't turn into a loud, rambunctious person unless they kind of have that, they're guarding that. There's something in them that wants to be heard, that wants to be connected, and wants to have those types of things. The mean drunk is a mean person. They just are masking it. In many cases.
Again, I don't know how one person can be two people. It's not. You are who you are,
Yep.
And if it's alcohol induced, there's possibility you might be a little more boisterous, but it is still you.
It's still you. Yep.
It's still you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So going to that golden rule, and if number 7 is our golden rule model here, then I think there's something really important to say with the second half of the golden rule. So it's do unto others, obviously, as you would have them do unto you. I don't think people stop and think very often, how do I want people to treat me? I know I didn't get massage very often before I went to massage school. And even as a massage therapist, I can't say I've had my monthly massage the whole time I've been a massage therapist.
No, I definitely, that's something to work on.
It's something that comes and goes, and thankfully recently I've been hitting it, and so
Good.
I've been feeling better.
Good.
And when I look at how I get a massage, that's changed over the time too. When I was first a massage therapist, and my wife will attest that I'm a massage snob. I am. And I've told her massage school kind of makes you a massage snob.
It does.
Because you know
Sure
what
does.
you want, and you want them to do it exactly the way
You want them
it.
to know what you know.
Without, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. They find a muscle and they don't know the student or
Okay,
somebody,
it's
and they just
done.
kind of move around, and you're like, stop. No, do you feel that? No, you don't. You just left it.
Yeah. Well, could you go twice as hard and kind of actually do something with the muscle? Yeah. And so for me, recently, I've been working on this mantra. When I'm getting a massage, I need to turn off my brain and be the experiencer of the massage. Because what
It's difficult. When
It
you're an
is.
instructor.
it
Yeah.
is, well, instructor or just a massage therapist, most massage therapists still kind of go, oh, well, I wish they would have done this stroke, or I wish they would have like stretched that out or changed it, instead of actually living in that moment. And when I have massage therapists on my table, I've had both massage therapists where they come in and they're laying on the table and they're then trying to tell you exactly how to do every stroke, and it's obnoxious, and you're like, okay, yes, okay, well, I was going to get to that next, but okay, we can start that. Yeah, okay.
You are a mind reader. It's exactly what I was getting ready to do. Thank you.
And then the other, yeah, and then the other side where they lay there and you can feel them stewing about it, of, okay, I'm almost trying to relax, but you're not doing the thing that I want you to do. And you're like, well, what, how can I help? And it's getting, for me now, it's getting out of my perceived expectation of what I think a good massage is, because I've had some of the best massages recently from people I never would have gone to before. They may be new, they may be more experienced, but just in a different area, and I just haven't connected with them. And I literally do the intake interview on my side as truly a person who just needs a massage, and not, well, I need myofascial release on my neck, and I need a good stretching on my left shoulder, and if you could do a lateral flexion, contralateral rotation stretch on my left upper cervicals, that would be great. I can't do that because they're creating their treatment plan. The statement, "Doctor, heal thyself." Have you ever heard that one?
No.
Okay. Doctors can't treat themselves.
No.
They can't prescribe their own medicine. They can't do any of that. Massage therapists need to learn from that as well. You cannot give yourself a massage. Go ahead and try. It's going to suck.
It's not the same.
Trying to get the arms back there and get that one, it doesn't work.
Right.
So truly, in my mind, if I want to be treating all of the people with respect and inherent worth, that includes the massage therapist who works on me. When I give them inherent worth, that they are a skilled, qualified, licensed professional to treat a client, including me, I become a better client, a better person, and a better massage therapist. Because instead of my judgment brain, I turn on my education brain and I go, oh, that felt really great. I wonder how they did that. Last night was my last massage. I really appreciate it. The guy was great. If he watches this or not. But one of the things I asked was for neck working. He's like, oh, I love fixing necks. That'd be great. Yeah, no problem. And he did a stretch, and I felt my brain turn on going, oh, he's doing active isolated stretching or active release technique. And I started turning on that science.
You're like, stop it, monkey mind, stop.
I know,
stop.
I was like, yeah, go, okay. And so at the end, got done with the massage, and I said, that was a great massage, thank you. And he's like, oh, great, okay. And I said, what continuing education have you thought about taking? And he's like, oh, well, I've got a year before I need to take more. And I'm like, okay, so here's some ideas. Aromatics, active isolated stretching would be something that would give you some really good stuff. And I talked to him about some other ideas. I said, you did a great job. Those are just some ideas that just seeing what you do might add to it.
Yeah.
And he took it and he smiled. He's like, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I was like, oh, we had a really good massage from someone I never would have gotten a massage from. But it was the best massage I've had in a long time.
And you respected his professional judgment.
Yep.
To come up, to listen to you, to listen to your needs, indications, contraindications, and develop a plan for you. You allow that to happen. And so you're right. That's valued and that's worth for him.
And something that I love about new massage therapists is that their brain is directly out of school. And so usually their intake interview's better.
They're pretty attentive.
Their exit interview's better.
Yeah.
Their communication is conscious. They want to make sure that they're checking in and all of that, because usually I don't even know when that happens. The first couple of years, then I'll see massage therapists start slacking off on it, and then something happens, and they usually then go back up and they're like, oh, hey, I got to make sure that my communication is, or they take a CE class and they say, it's important.
Oh yeah, they get motivated
and they
again
go,
or
oh,
something. Yeah.
But there's this lull in practice for a massage therapist where it then needs to come back around, come back up, and really kind of draw to their skill. So yeah, I love that, and I love that it's taught in schools, and that it's really drawn back into helping, kind of drawing a professional back to what they were. And how can we do that? You know, I think teachers can go one direction or the other.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Exactly.
Uh-oh, here we go.
They can either be as conscious as their students and be demonstrating that good communication, or they can be as cocky as the day is long.
I guess I'll leave that to my students.
Let them decide. Exactly. But you will see the the instructor says, oh, I know how to do everything, and you guys are learning this, and I've done this for years, and then you have the other instructors like, you know what, I don't know everything.
Right.
But I'm here to help you guys learn this, and if I learn something new, I'm excited to come share it with you.
Yin and yang balance. That's what I always.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way I feel that's the way it's supposed to happen. Is that I have a skill set, I have a knowledge base, I have experience that you don't have, but you're also coming in with your own life experience and your own, story, and you're coming in, and so there's an exchange of knowledge and respect that you can go both ways. And if you get up in front of the classroom and you act this puffed out chest and I know what I'm talking about, then your students will shut down and you lose that opportunity to connect with them. You don't get to connect with them on a human level.
Yep.
For sure. I know I connect with my students on a human level. I'll respect them, and I'm more than willing to learn from them. I'm more than willing to take my edits on my exams. I'll have, every now and then someone will say, hey, Jen, I think you meant to say this. I'll look at the exam and I have to look at them and say, you know what? Good eye. You know what? Author should not be editor. And that's usually, what I can, but I respect them, and that's how it's supposed to be.
I love writing a test question and then getting it back and realizing, oh, I guess that answer is right too. And then you gotta go,
so that just happened.
Depending on perspective.
That just happened this week.
Oh, did it?
Last week. That was last week. Oh, yeah. And I got it back and I thought, well, both B and D both work out pretty well there. And then you're thinking.
But B in my mind was the right answer.
Correct.
Because of this justification. But as soon as I get rid of that justification and I take it from someone else's mind, oh, yeah, I guess perspective.
Because you have to, because again, when you write like test, you write a question, I know in my mind what I want, what I'm trying to get you to learn from that. And so when I put it out there and I put it on paper, sometimes it's spot on, and sometimes I get to what I wanted to learn, but I didn't track them to the right place. It's only happened like 3 times ever, so it's good.
I had a professor who was really mean. He was a great professor. He really taught really well. But he took all of his multiple choice questions, or multiple guess questions, that is what we used to call it, and turned it into multiple true or false. So what ended up happening is it just looked like a standard multiple choice question. Here's the stem, here's A, B, C, or D. And instead of circle 1, you had a line in front of each of those. So is A true or false? Is
Nice.
B true or false?
Nice.
Is C? So then you ended up having questions that were, well, A is true and C is true, or A and B are true and C is true, but D is false. And so you actually had to think through every concept, so that when it really comes down to it, instead of just being able to regurgitate answers, you now have to engage the thought process to make sure that you have vetted each answer to say, yes, could that be true? How could that be true? And he had no problem with you writing to the side, well, this would be true if.
And that's what I do. I actually do that exercise with my students. We do that as we review for, towards the end and we're to the MLEX. We really start dissecting questions apart. And I guess we do it earlier too, but we really focus on the end where we're dissecting the question apart. Instead of right, that brain, you're like, oh, it's B. Well, why? Because I just know it is. You have to, I'll ask the students to go through and say, well, why was A, C, and D not a viable option? So you got it, so you can magnify one question exponentially, your knowledge base off of that by dissecting that through. So, yeah.
So the reverse golden rule. I think I'm making this up as we go.
Okay.
Don't do unto others as you would not want them to do to you. So,
Fact.
the concept
Wait, do that again. Hold on. Do that again.
Don't do to others
Don't do to others
how you would not want them to do to you. So, this is an example, I think, regularly. If you had a teacher in school who was a big fat jerk to you, that doesn't mean that you get to then be a big fat jerk to someone else or to them back.
Yeah.
The golden rule still stands to say, no matter what they do to you, even if they're not following the golden rule, you need to.
You still have to be accountable for you. You
Yep.
still have to be accountable for you, and you still have to, there's going to be a quiet time that you're by yourself, and you should reflect. I think you should reflect in life of almost every experience, and how can you improve, and how, how could I have done things different, or what did I like that I did. But if you aren't respectful to somebody, or somebody's not respectful to you, yeah, it's not okay to turn around and tit for tat, go back into the same thing. But other than, kind of looking back and saying, there's a reason why this person is doing it, and me doing it does not make the two wrongs do not make a right. Yeah.
Well, and that all comes right into the justifying poor behavior. And sometimes when someone's being mean to you, you want to be mean back to them just because, but that doesn't help anything. That doesn't help anyone. It just makes for a worse relationship.
Right.
Where forgiveness is that other aspect, the other side of it, where if you forgive them and move on and decide to be nice to them. If you had someone who was, if you had a professor or a teacher who was mean to you and didn't give you what you felt the respect you deserved, and yet you decided that you were going to be nice to them and follow their instructions and be kind for the rest, it's more likely than then they'll go, oh, well, they did do this, they did do that, yeah, so let me help them with their grade,
Right.
Let me give them a little bit of study time, let me give them, where the vice versa, which children, specific 13-year-old daughters, get into this point where they're justifying their behavior and say, well, I don't have to listen to them because they don't like me, I don't like them. It's not an emotional thing. It's this is what you need to do. And if we can teach that to our 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old children, it'll make that so much easier, even when they're emotional, even when they're frustrated, even when they're irritated, to be able to say, here's the behavior that I have to model.
And selfishly, just to follow up on that, in my own personal life, there's been a lot of forgiveness that's been given in the last, probably, in the last 6 months. There's been a lot of forgiveness, so the way somebody treats you and then doing not is not okay, and having to look and say, I forgive you for what you've done, and it's not going to be right for me to turn around and do the same thing. But selfishly, I have to say, it's healthier for you to not go and try to do that, because, for a minute when my world was going on, it was a little bit of festering and kind of, what can I do to get back at you? And then I realized this isn't going to get us anywhere. And I need to just kind of step back and say, you know what, it's okay. It's not okay for me to be okay with it, and continue on it with behaviors that were going on, but it's okay, it happened, and let's move on. And selfishly, it feels good to forgive and let go, and then by example, I think that people see that, and they see that inner strength that maybe not initially seems like inner strength, but really is, and kind of they'll self-reflect, and maybe they'll change behaviors. And
what's that statement? Forgiveness isn't, I think I got this from my mom, forgiveness is an internal thing, not an external thing. You don't forgive other people for their better good, you forgive them for your better good.
Yeah.
Because if you're festering on it, if you're angry, if you're emotionally distraught because of something, it's not going to hurt them as much as it's hurting you.
So Facebook is full of all amazing knowledge. Facebook and the Google. So there's
the Google.
I love the Google and the Facebook, and I mean, you have to treat people right, and I see a lot of this activity on some of our, and let's just be honest, on some massage therapy pages where people are really not following some of these golden rules, and then bashing on people, and then trying to make up, and it's interesting to watch how people treat each other on on Facebook and some of those social sites, and these warriors behind their keyboard and bashing, and then trying to like move on from, maybe it's a debate over a modality or a concept, which
research or something.
Yeah, research, and let's be honest, research you're exploding, and so yeah, and so anyway, so you see a lot of this activity that goes on in our social media and people in the forgiveness and stuff, the aspect that, you know, maybe sometimes we should have, and be understanding that someone's had a different life experience. Maybe they've read a different research article than you. It's possible. It's totally possible.
And it could have come up with complete different responses because something was different about it.
That's right. That's right. So.
Yeah, I just recently heard about a conversation between two spa owners, and this made me smile, made me laugh. One spa owner was bragging that he had 52 different chargeback requests or cancellations on charges from credit cards, and because someone questioned the charge, and so he didn't give the money back, and all 52 times he won, and he was able to keep the money. And another spa owner was like, wow, did I hear you just bragging that you're at 100% for not having any challenges to your cards? He's like, yeah, I'm at 100%. He's like, oh, good, so am I. He's like, oh, well, wow, why? What's your number? He says 0. He says, if someone requests that I've overcharged them, I would rather give them the money back and have them take it and give the positive PR possibility.
Oh, yeah.
You've got 54 people out there saying that you stole their money and you wouldn't give it back. That's going to be a lot more negative.
There's a lot more than 54 people, because once you tell the 54 people, those 54 people have told 9, 10, 12, 15, 20 people.
Yep.
So now it's, right. Like,
hundreds.
Was it $13.50 that you owed them back? Yeah. Was that worth it?
What's
or
that?
Whatever. I mean,
what's your PR rate now?
Yeah. What did that cost you?
And when I really look at it, I mean, I forget who it was, but one of the colleges did research on if someone has a good experience, how many people do they tell? If someone has a great experience, how many people do they tell? And if someone has a horrible experience, how many people do they tell? And if they had a horrible experience, they're going to tell 10 people, 12 people, 20 people, something like that. If they had a good experience, they're maybe willing to tell 3 or 4. And so if you're building that type of PR for yourself, it's going to come back. And so if you're looking at the inherent worth of all of your clients, your patients, realize that sometimes there can be an error. Sometimes you just need to call them up and say, I don't quite know what's going on. Could we talk about this and figure out what happened? And if they're irritated, aggravated, screaming at you, why are they doing that? Do you think they're
out of frustration?
It's out of frustration. And say, you know what, I completely understand that you're irritated. I'm sorry that that's the case right now. Do you think it would be better for me to call back at a time when we could both talk with level heads? I have to do that with my sweet, lovely, wonderful daughter, Hannah. She can hit that button that only
She's 13,
a 13-year-old sweet daughter can. Well, she's been able to do it her whole life because we're so similar.
Yeah.
But she can touch that button and I'll have to handle that quick if I don't put it in check and step away and say, wait, we can't do this right now. And then come back with level heads so that we're both not then gonna scream at each other and have a horrible day. Let's change it. Let's step away and let's do this one.
Well, you can't unspeak words that are spoken. You can't unhear them. So it's better in situations like that, or conflict with your clients. Absolutely. Or whatever it is, to take some time down and self-reflect on your behavior, their behavior, good outcomes. Should you talk to somebody? Get advice. How should you handle? And then clear-headed, go back in there. Yeah.
Well, and that opening intake interview is something that's really wonderful, but you can't do it later.
No.
You can't do the opening intake interview halfway through the massage.
No.
And so being able to say, hey, you know what, we're taking the time, we're doing what we need to when we are able to and when we're supposed to, that not only gives them the opportunity to prepare you for that session and prepare them for that session. But it also gives this wonderful opportunity for people to connect and for you to show them that you respect them and appreciate them. And that's where I think we're going to take this and kind of leave it at. Once again, this is number 7. Conducting your business and your professional activities with honesty and integrity, and respecting the inherent worth of all persons. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's
my pleasure.
been a lot of fun, and I am now going to have to hit some other buttons here. And let me
So we're going to say goodbye from Fort Lauderdale.
we are going to say goodbye from Fort Lauderdale. We're actually going to have a lot of fun this weekend with our school summit.
Yes.
The AMTA School Summit. I love this event because I get to connect with other educators who all have a sincere passion. If they've decided that they want to go out for a weekend just to talk to other school owners, instructors, they've got a passion. They've got some serious.
We have multi-level common grounds at this conference, and it's an amazing time to connect with schools, admins, educators. It's whether you're entry-level educator or you're advanced continuing ed educator. That's what you have here. It's my favorite.
And you also have industry support because they have vendors who are here who support, like the massage table companies. You've got product companies, sheet companies who come out and the publishing companies who really want to hear what the instructors, the school owners have to say.
That's right.
And so this is going to be a lot of fun. So thank you. Watch. I'll be posting stuff on Facebook for this weekend, so people know what's being talked about. So we will see you all again very soon.
It was nice to meet you, Jennifer. Thank you, Nathan. The hour has flown by. We hope you've enjoyed this discussion with Ethics Outside the Box. As you've seen, Nathan uses many second-hand stories of ethical situations. If you'd like to share your story or you have any questions, feel free to contact him and Nathan at educatedtouch.com. If you'd like to register for next week's live webinar, go to shop.educatedtouch.com. Under live webinars, you will see all upcoming webinars. If you have just watched this video and would like continuing education for home study, you can go to shop.educatedtouch.com under the home study options with the date or episode number to receive your exam. If you would please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we will keep you up to date on new videos. If you'd like to attend one of our live courses, you can find upcoming scheduled events at www.educatedtouch.com. Thank you for joining us today. Be well and have an ethical day.